Mark chapter 10, verse 46 says this, Then they came to Jericho. As Jesus and his disciples, together with a large crowd, were leaving the city, a blind man named Bartimaeus was sitting by the roadside begging. That's very, very important. He was sitting by the roadside begging. When he heard that Jesus of Nazareth was passing by, he began to shout, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. But many rebuked him and told him, be quiet. Or, as some of us Latins know, to be quiet means to cállate, or cállate la boca. But he shouted all the more. I want you to say that. Say, shouted all the more. Say it again. Say, shouted all the more. That's what I'm teaching on this morning. See, I believe that there's something in your spirit that is shouting for more. More means greater. It means addition. It means expansion. There's something in your spirit that is shouting for more, something greater, for an addition, for an expansion. I remember when I first saw a kid in school, he had on Converse. But because we were still not to the place of buying Converse, I got almost Converse. The word almost means not quite, nearly. Then I saw a kid in school that had some in it on the back of the jeans that said Levi's. And I think I got something called Plevi's. Then there was a show called Happy Days. And on that show was a person who's now my friend, Henry Winkler, who's my friend. And they called him the Fonz. How many remember the Fonz? And I wanted a jacket like the Fonz. And so my brother Randy said, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but for Christmas, they got you a Fonzie jacket. And I remember opening it up all excited. And as soon as I felt it, I said, this ain't no leather. It was something called pleather. So the man sitting by the roadside was living a pleather life. He was living an almost life. But he had an opportunity. Somebody say opportunity. One of the things that happens is that when you have a stigma, many times you don't see the opportunity present itself because you have a stigma. The word stigma is very, very powerful. It means to have a blemish, a defect, a stain. It's considered not positive. This man had a stigma, and the stigma was he was blind. So they didn't just call him Bartimaeus, they called him blind Bartimaeus because he had a stigma or a label. So this was a blemish, it was a defect, a stain. It was not considered positive. He was blind, and so at that time, if somebody was blind, they thought, I wonder if it's his mother's sin or his father's sin, or maybe it's something that he did. So he found himself sitting by the roadside. And he had also become an official beggar, licensed to beg. You could actually go to the authorities of that region, and you were given a coat of a certain color and a certain style so that you were considered a legal beggar. So you were stuck in a moment, and it was okay. So you were legalized to be okay. But then an opportunity came by that he did not expect. And that was Jesus walking by doing his Isaiah 61 mission, turning ashes into beauty and unlocking lives and taking them to new dimensions. And so I've been saying this statement for probably 25 years. The real you will always make a demand on the you that you'll become. So watch this. The real you is making a demand on the person that you are becoming, and many times it's saying, don't settle. That's not really you. This relationship is not really you. This financial situation is not really you. This apartment is not really you. This funky place that you're in is not really you. The real you will always make a demand on the person that you're supposed to be. The Bible says in Ephesians 4:1, for those that are taking notes and those watching online, to walk worthy of the calling that you've received. The word worthy means to honor the calling that is in you and to step up to the spoken word over your life. At the Congregation Church, that's all we're trying to help you with. It's a journey, a lifelong journey where we are helping you to step up to the spoken word over your life. And what will happen at times in life is because there have been stigmas over your life, just like you saw with blind Bartimaeus, that stigma has created a label, which is a tag or a marker that says, well, you got divorced, or you got pregnant at 15, or this happened to you and you were incarcerated, or you tried 3 businesses that have failed. And that even though I say positive things from the Bible, or our Pastor Page or Pastor Stefan will say positive things from the Bible, many times you have a stigma, but it's not on your body, it's in your mind. See, because the stigma back at that day, listen to this research. This was a Greek word that in its origin referred to a type of marking or tattoo that was cut or burned into the skin of a criminal, a slave, or a traitor to visibly identify them as blemished or morally polluted. Do you know that there is darkness that's real? And there is a devil that the Bible calls him the accuser of the brethren. And he tries to come back to you with a stigma of, look at your family, look where you came from, look at what you've done in your past. Just hope that it doesn't come out, what you've done in your past. But I love that God, not only does he erase stigmas, but he refills us and renews us and shows us who we really are. Somebody clap your hands if you believe this. As he was sitting by the roadside, when he heard that Jesus of Nazareth was coming by, because he had to hear it because he couldn't see it, because he had a limitation, he began to shout. But the interesting word, as I've taught in this church before, the word shout there is the word in the Greek krazo. He began to shout, krazo. He began to shout like a crazy person. Do you know sometimes you got to get a little crazy? Sometimes you got to get to the point where you're tired of being tired of being broke, tired of being bloated. Come on, somebody. Tired of having funky Thanksgivings, tired of having funky Christmases, and you shout. Come on, you shout. You shout in a crazy way, in a krazo way, Son of David, Jesus Christ, have mercy on me. Bring change to my family. Bring change to my life. Bring change to this country. Bring change to this world. Somebody clap your hands and shout. Sometimes you got to get a little bit krazo. I've told you the story of me being in South Africa, and the building that I was in that one night, they had 10,000 people in the main building, and then they had 3,000 in one overflow and 2,000 in another overflow. And a lady who was a maid for a white family in South Africa came to the meeting by herself, and she had walked several miles. She did not take the bus. She walked to the church to see Tim Storey because she had a problem in her body and she wanted to get healed. And when she tried to get into the door, they said, sorry, miss, the arena is filled. And they said, but we do have 2 overflows. She said, I've been to both of those, and they're packed. And they said, I just can't come in, that I need to come back tomorrow night. But Tim Storey's not going to be here tomorrow night. I need to see Tim Storey because he believes in miracles, and I need to get in that building. And they said, we're sorry, miss, but you cannot get in. We're so sorry. So she did something a little crazy. She took off her shoe, and she threw it in the arena. And she said, now I got to go get my shoe. Come on, somebody, clap your hands. Come on, clap your hands. Sometimes you got to. Now I got to go get my. That was so great. Sometimes you got to do something you've never done before to get somewhere you've never been before. Son of David, in other words, he's heard of him. Have mercy on me. This is my opportunity, and I don't plan on missing it. But many rebuked him and told him, quiet. I think that since you were a kid, many rebuked you and told you quiet. What do you mean by that? Quiet. This is just how your life's going to be. Quiet. People like us don't do this. Quiet. People like us don't go beyond here. Quiet. You've already been through enough pain. Just be glad you're alive. And something in you is saying, no, don't be quiet. An utmost God did not create an almost child. God has called me to do things at a high supernatural level. Somebody clap your hands and shout. Come on. When you know that God is calling you to do something bigger than where you are, there's an inner voice that speaks to you. Who's ever heard the inner voice? I have. I knew I was going to be Tim Storey before I became Tim Storey, to be honest. This afternoon, I'll speak to about 2,500 people at the Wiltern Theater with me and Ed Milet. I knew those things were going to happen. I knew about all these TV shows. I knew about all these movies. I knew that when I was a little kid because I heard an inner voice that said that I was going to be me. How many would be honest enough to say that you know that there's more to life than what you're living? Come on, lift your hands. So as a senior pastor, I'm saying to you, some of you need to get a little crazy. You need to show up 2 Sundays in a row. Some of you may even give to the building program. Whoa, that'd be crazy. Some of you may need to study the Bible. Some of you may need to fast at times. Some of you may need to call people in your family that you don't like. So when you know there's more, there's an inner voice that talks to you. Number one. Number two is that when you know there's more and you're supposed to respond, there are observations that you see that pull you towards them. I remember seeing really clean houses and saying, I'm going to have a super clean house like this. I remember seeing bigger houses and saying, I'm going to have a bigger house like this. I remember seeing first class in the airplane and saying, ooh, someday I'm going to get more leg room. Come on, somebody. There's something inside you that cries for more, for greater, addition, expansion. The blind man was sitting by the roadside. He could have listened to the rebukes of the people, but he knew that he had an opportunity that was at that moment. I believe that God is going to give you a supernatural opportunity in the month of November that is going to bring people into your life. He's going to bring messages like this that say to you, respond. Respond. If that means taking your shoe off, come on, somebody. Throw it in a crowded auditorium, not knowing where the shoe's going to go, probably hit somebody upside the head. that no matter what God provokes you to do, that you're willing to do it. Somebody asked me on a podcast the other day, they say, why do you think so much good keeps happening in your life? It's not by accident, I'm trying to tell you. When you listen to what God says and then you respond, it works. Now, I didn't say it doesn't work without pain, and I didn't say it works without a price. There's a pain and there's a price. But as I said in an event we had as a church recently, what a privilege to be a person that went beyond. What a privilege to be a person that goes beyond the rebukes. What a privilege to go beyond what people thought you were supposed to be. Stay there, stay there. Cállate, cállense to the crowd. No, there's something in you that said, rise up. It is time for me and my house to rise up. Clap your hands like you and your house are going to rise up. Come on, people, come on. So I'm saying to you, your inner voice is telling you there's more. There's greater, there's addition, there's expansion. Son of David, have mercy on me. Jesus stopped. Jesus stopped. He was going and then he stopped. The cry, the krazo, the crazy cry stopped Jesus. That's very powerful. Your crazy cry has stopped Jesus. Sometimes I'll mess with the heavenlies, and I think my angels probably get mad. And I'll say, God, I know there's 8 billion people on the planet, but I'm kind of suffering right now. So if you don't mind, help me out. I'm not doing so well right now. I know you got 8 billion other children, but I'm here. What's that? That's a krazo. That's a crazy cry. The Bible says as you draw near to God, he draws near to you. You know what's happening in your life? Thank God you made it through the 90s, for those that were even born in the 90s. Thank God you made it through the early 2000s. But you're not just going to barely get by at the end of 2019. You are going to prosper where you're planted. You're going to thrive. Come on, somebody. Give the Lord a clap and a shout. And you're going to blast into the year 2020. Son of David, have mercy on me. And Jesus stopped and said, call him. So they called the blind man. Cheer up. Cheer up. Somebody say, cheer up. Look at me. Some of you by faith, you need to cheer up by faith. Do you know sometimes when I'm in pain, which is not now, but sometimes when I'm in pain, I cheer up by faith? If for you that follow me on Instagram, sometimes when I'm doing those videos and I'm like joking around and stuff, I feel like hell. But I'm joking by faith. Sometimes I smile by faith. Come on. Sometimes I want to tell people where to go, but I won't. Come on, somebody. I tell them how amazing they look. He says, cheer up. Somebody say, cheer up. He says, cheer up and get up. 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 Why? Because your life is about to shift supernaturally. Your life is about to shift supernaturally. Look, your life is about to shift supernaturally. So by faith, cheer up, cheer up, cheer up. Jesus said, cheer up, but the man was still blind. He said, before you even see the manifestation, cheer up by faith. Cheer up by faith. Somebody clap your hands and shout. Proclaim it's going to be a good 2020 by faith. By faith, I believe 2020 is going to be amazing. By faith, I believe that 2021 is going to be amazing. By faith, by faith, by faith, I cheer up. By faith, I get up. By faith, I cheer up. By faith, I get up. By faith, I respond. I respond. Respond to the one who makes things greater, who brings addition, who brings expansion. Brings expansion. Cheer up, get on your feet. He's calling you. Throwing his cloak aside, which was his past life. Take my beggar's coat. I won't be needing this. Quincy Jones said to me, Tim Storey, I know you're a pastor, but you're a mogul. Start acting like it. I know you're a humanitarian, but you're a mogul. Start acting like it. Somebody asked me the other day, how'd you become such a good deal maker? Well, when you get trained by Lee Iacocca, you can be half decent at things like this. But I listened and I responded to what Quincy Jones said to me. You're a mogul. Start acting like it. I know that you're a pastor. I know you're spiritual. I know you're a reverend. That's fine. I know you're a humanitarian, but you're also a runner. You're a runner of big things. You're a leader of big things. In other words, start acting. Start acting like the champion that you are. I'm saying to you right now in the month of November, start acting like the champion you are. I'm done speaking. Clap your hands and shout if you learned anything. Come on, clap your hands and shout like God's doing something in you.
Today's message was outstanding, and I'm sure it has touched you in some way. I am here, and I would love to pray with you. If God has touched you, you can receive Christ in your life today. And I'd love to pray with you. Just repeat after me. Say, Jesus, come into my life, anew and afresh. Restore my life. Forgive me from all unrighteousness. He is so faithful to everyone who prays. The Bible promises that those that cry out to him or those that pray, it is 100% that he will turn no one away. If you have said that prayer today, we would like for you to press the link and fill out the I want to follow Jesus card. So many people has asked me as a pastor, how do I get involved? Well, you can get involved with the online campus by partnering with us. So you can give your tithe and offering online by pressing the link below, and you'll find the donation card. So God bless you. We will keep you in prayer. Keep us in prayer. God is a mighty God.